Welcome to another episode of Around the 32 Recap Show. Tonight we are highlighting Week 12. Uh, we're actually in Week 13 in league play right now with an advance looking to happen sometime tomorrow night. If I read that right, Washington and Oregon still needs to play. UCF Colorado. Colorado, for those of you who do not know, had his baby tonight. Well, his wife had the baby. He didn't have the baby. If he had it, then Buddy needs to go to Vegas or something. I don't know. Like, we should have a headline. It's not not necessarily him having the baby, but it's his baby that was being born. So shout out to him. Congratulations again uh, on the birth of. I think he said it's his third child. So uh, that game is postponed. Hopefully they get to play it at some point. Um, I don't know that that's really been scheduled. Uh, the last update was at 9 this morning. Colorado said that he could potentially run on the portable, which I'm assuming that he's probably talking about a PlayStation Portal. Just don't know how it'll lag. Heads up, ass Ole Miss, it'll lag a lot. It's absolutely atrocious trying to play on that thing. It lags a lot even whenever I'm in my own home. Um, Lucky for me, I'm going on vacation next week, and I'm out of the playoffs, so I don't have to worry about playing any games unless the new season's gonna start up uh, while I'm there. In that case, then Hokie fan, you might have dodged a bullet because I'm not scheduling a game on week zero if I know that I'm not gonna be around to play it under ideal conditions. I might be a fool, but I'm not Boo Boo the fool. That's Eddie. So um, that's the update on UCF Colorado in week 13. For those of you who don't know, we also have, like I mentioned earlier, Oregon and Washington was supposed to play tonight. Oh no, I'm sorry. They're playing tomorrow night, which is Wednesday. Tomorrow night, sometime around 9:30. So be eyeing that for the advance time. If they kick off 9:30 Eastern, then we could possibly be looking at a 10 or 11 o'clock advance if everything goes the way that it should right there. We have a good show scheduled for you guys. Just a quick heads up. Uh, this is the first show that we're doing since we started the audio only podcast over on Spotify. So, for those of you guys who can't sit in front of your phones on YouTube during the day for 30 45 minutes, an hour, I know some of these episodes can get a bit long, a little bit windy. um, go over to Spotify, check us out, around the 32 podcast. We do have links in Discord. We will drop with every episode that we drop on YouTube. We will drop the audio on Spotify. At some point, we are going to look into expanding that into other places that you listen to your podcast. So if there's anywhere in particular that you like to get your podcast, reach out, let me know, let Bone know, let Sticks know. Hey, I listen to my podcast on Apple Music. We'll get it there. If you listen to it on Google Podcasts, we'll get it there. Wherever you listen to it, let us know, and we will make it happen so that you can listen to it at your convenience in the place that you're normally listening to it at. I know a lot of people don't really use Spotify. Uh, I'm one of those. I don't really use it. I don't really listen to podcasts much, believe it or not. Uh, But when I do, it is through a podcast app that I go to for all of my LSU Tiger news. So I'll probably end up getting it there as well, so that I can catch those episodes that that Bone fills in, and um, that I can't sit and watch the episode on YouTube. Um, at the end of the last episode that we done, recapping week 11, I went through the awards watch list, and I told you guys that this is something that we would do from now until the end of the season. So I spoke with Bone and Sticks, and this is something that they want to be league backed. It's not just going to be an around the 32 alternate award. It's going to be a league backed award, very similar to the Hall of Fame. We will still do the live show whenever we do the awards, and it's going to go a little bit more in depth than we initially planned. So I'm not going to cover any awards tonight. If you guys are looking for that, uh, it's not going to be here. Bone and I, and hopefully Sticks jumps on as well, but Bone and I are going to do a completely separate show for the awards watch tomorrow. We're tentatively planning for tomorrow evening, um, where we will break down all of the awards and the people who are qualifying for them, and potentially this is still a work in progress. We're still kind of talking about it, going back and forth, trying to figure out exactly how we want to tackle this thing. But we are potentially going to break it down into top 10 finalists, and then round one of the playoffs, we will drop that to the top eight, and then round two we can drop to top six, and round three, the start of the semis, we could drop to round four, and then right before the Natty is going to be our big award show, where we will um, highlight the top four in each award and announce the winner for each one. And we have not discussed this yet, but I'm pretty sure that we are potentially going to do something like we do with the Hall of Fame, where there's going to be a graphic, there's going to be an announcement uh, for the award winner. I don't know that there's going to be any extra incentive. I don't know that that award winners are going to get, like a +1 skill point or anything like that. That is definitely something that, Bone, I know that you're listening. Sticks, I know that you're listening. That's definitely something that I feel like we could talk about. Um, just to give these guys a little bit something more than just, hey, here's an image. Congratulations, you did a great job. Um, and the big idea behind this was to award you guys who the game will not award. Uh, like I said the other night, defensive awards. Man, let me pull it up right now. I know that we have a lot to go through. I have a 30-minute call segment pre-recorded that you guys are really gonna want to hear. It was very entertaining. Me, Bobby, and B Goins were in there, and we were kind of chopping it up a little bit. Uh, very very entertaining. Some good insight into the league, into college football playoffs. Uh, so don't get don't get lost in all of this chatter about awards. But I wanted to pull up really quickly um, the in-game defensive awards uh, watch list just to give you guys kind of an idea of what we're looking at. And I know that you guys can look at it on your own time, but we have at number one, we have a left edge out of Virginia that's leading this award with 42 tackles, 32 tackles for a loss, which is absolutely absurd, by the way. One fumble, 14 sacks. Okay. The closest user player for Defensive Player of the Year is Michigan's free safety, Rod Moore. Has 33 tackles, 7 interceptions, 7 pass defense, 43 tackle assists. Um, my number one Defensive Player of the Year is not in the top 12. And I touched on that yesterday, day before yesterday. And this is, I'm going to pull up that graphic right now. This has not been updated. But you can kind of see his stats. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, I'm going to outline it. Clev Lubin is an edge with Louisville. He has 41 total tackles, 19 tackles for a loss, 11 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The only thing that really separates the in-game number one from Clev Lubin is the tackles for a loss. I mean, look, he's leading in a lot of different categories. You have 42 to 41 with Clev total tackles. You have oh no, I'm sorry. This guy from Virginia has 56 total because he has 14 assists. But Clev has 19 tackles for a loss. This guy has 32, which is absolutely insane. Clev has 11 sacks. Virginia has 14. Clev has 2 forced fumbles, and the Virginia guy, Fisher Kamak, I guess is how you say his last name, has 1. So if we're going just based off of in-game, then yeah, Fisher definitely has the edge there in Defensive Player of the Year award, but that's kind of the issue, right? Is we want to be able to award users. But anyway, we can touch all of that tomorrow whenever Bone and I do the recap show. I'll spend enough time talking about that for tonight. So let's dive in. Let's try and get this thing done. So you guys aren't sitting here listening to an hour-long show again tonight. Week 12 scoreboard. We had 2 user games. Indiana defeated Washington 48-7 in an absolute blowout. You're gonna hear me talking to Indiana's head coach later on in the calling portion, and you'll hear a lot of my thoughts on that, and my thoughts on Eddie with Washington, and how I'm sure he is kind of beating himself up over his recent skid. Don't. Just don't. You're still a solid user. You're still, in my opinion, one of the better guys here. You're in a very tough conference. You're playing very tough teams. Indiana is a really, really solid team with a really solid Jekyll and Hyde coach. You just never know which one's gonna show up whenever you play him. And I say that completely with love, and I'll tell him that tell him that directly. It doesn't bother me any. Don't get too down on yourself with this. I know that you'll bounce back, and you'll come back a little bit stronger from it. Washington is a growing team. It's one that it needs a little bit of work, and if we're being completely honest, I didn't expect to see you in the national championship conversation year one, just based off of your team. Uh, Year three, year four, I definitely think that you're in the perennial playoff contender conversation. Um, a mainstay in the top 25 once you get that team right. Um, B. Goins, congratulations to you. Hats off, man. Not many people really saw that type of game coming, and I know that you were just loving every second of it, knowing that a lot of people may have counted you out. Second user versus user game, we had LSU versus Tennessee. I was able to watch this one, and man, let me tell you, I always love watching Brandon play because the style of offense that he runs is very similar to the style that I run. It's just a lot more efficient. Uh, and he does it with my team, right? With my team that has my heart, my soul, my like the team that I love, right? The team that I follow. Um, so it's always really awesome watching him win. And whenever he gets a win over Tennessee with the score of 42-28, and Caden Durham breaks, what was it, three, I think, massive touchdowns, including one of them that was 94 yards. I mean, that's just, oh, beautiful, beautiful football. Absolutely loved every piece of that from an LSU standpoint, from a Brandon standpoint. It's tough for Braxton with Tennessee. I didn't really know how this game was going to go. Knowing that Braxton beat Bone earlier in the season, um, even though I spoke to Bone and Bone kind of gave his reasons why he felt that game went the way that it went, but gave all credit to Braxton. He made no excuses. I thought for sure that this was going to be a very closely contested game, and it just kind of wasn't. So congratulations to Brandon. Tough break for Braxton. Moving on to user versus computer games. Uh, Let me kind of go through this and see if there's anything of note that really kind of sticks out. There's a lot of blowouts. UCF 64-21. Let me stop right here, real quick, guys, and kind of point out something because this next segment is something that I feel like really needs to be addressed. And it's something that we've seen a lot of in the past, and I know it's something that the commissioners want to get a hold of, and it really just it impacts the integrity of the game, integrity of the award system. It's one of the reasons why we have to do the awards segment the way that we're doing it right here, because we've had in the past guys that just come out and just completely abuse computer games. Throwing up 70 points on a FCS team or something of that nature, scoring 28 points in the fourth quarter whenever the game's already completely out of hand. Um, running your running back, 28 times after for 250 yards. You know, you read the rules and you read the stat pads, and the rules say 250 yards, 5 touchdowns, right? Guys, that's not the line. That's not saying, hey, you can get up to this point every single game as long as you don't cross it, you're fine. That should be that 250 yards, 5 touchdowns. That should be the maximum. Like, that should be your great games. That's not your every game, this is what I'm shooting for, this is what I want to achieve type of game. Bone pointed out that the leading rusher last year in college football had a 123-yard average per game. 123, okay? Our leading rushers this year have 168 and 161 per game. If you get to the point that you are ahead 3 touchdowns, and you know that you've had several games that your running back in particular has amassed 150 plus yards, take him out. Move in your second string. If your second string is killing it, move in your third. If you're up by a score of, I don't know, 35 nothing, 48 nothing in the third quarter, chew clock. If you bust a run, just go down. That's it. It's not about wanting you guys to score less. It's about keeping the integrity of the awards. It's about keeping the integrity of the XP system. It's about not trying to cheat the game, right? We all want better players. We all want our players to develop at a faster rate. We all want to be able to have those awards, right? But in the instances like we have right now in our award race, because of this right here, you got T.J. Mobley, running back for Notre Dame, is issued a warning for stat padding. All right. The next time that this happens, Notre Dame is going to get a suspension. Whether T.J. Mobley is there or not, this is a warning to Bobby. It's not a warning to T.J. Mobley. It's a warning to Bobby. And then you got this issue right here where Isaac Brown actually gets a 1-game suspension because he got a warning earlier in the season and continued to stat pad, continued to pile up those stats to the tune of let me see, I don't want to lie to you. A 42-9 game against Pitt in week 12 where he amassed 199 on the ground on 26 carries, 42-9, 26 carries, 199 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then against Kentucky in week 13, 31-17, 15 carries, 194, 2 touchdowns. So he actually kind of toned it back on the carries, but the yard production is still there. He has had 4 games this season. 4 games this season under 150 rushing yards. That's it. Everything else has been over. You have one of them that's 332. And look, that was against a user. All right? It was still a blowout. You have another one that's 218 against a computer. So whenever you are in these types of games, be very mindful of what your players are doing. You guys know. I mean, you can't tell me that you didn't know, you didn't realize that your player was having that type of game. If your guy is consistently putting up those numbers, you know. There's no doubt in my mind. You know. So in order to preserve the integrity of the league, preserve the integrity of the awards, the XP system, and all of these other things, just pull him. If he breaks a run, go down. Don't score 64 points on the computer if the computer's only putting up 21. Be a little bit more mindful of the way the game is flowing. Look, if you come out and you're getting pick sixes, you're getting fumble returns for touchdowns, things of that nature, fine. If you're on a short field all game long and it's really hard to milk that clock to go down, I get it. But if you're having to drive 75 yards every time you touch the ball, and you're doing so in a minute and 10, minute and 20, start thinking about the way that you're playing offense here. I don't think we have ever had a quarterback, as long as I've been in the league, win Heisman. It's wild because running the ball is so easy. And we just kind of take advantage of it. And we don't sub. We like one guy. And I know that that's not everybody in the league. I know a couple people that they sub out really well, to the point that their backups have 900 yards on the season. And they're just running the ball really, really efficiently, really, really effectively. Just be mindful of the points that you're scoring. Be mindful of the numbers that you're putting up with your players so that you don't get those suspensions. I personally never want to see anybody get a warning. I don't want to see anybody get a suspension. And the best way to avoid that is to just don't stat pad. And if you're curious about if you're on that line, ask. Ask somebody. Pause the game. Hey, real quick, in the main chat, I'm currently, third quarter. It's 42-10. My running back has 135 yards on 10 carries. Should I pull him? Chat's going to answer. It's up to you, but it's your player. It's your reputation. I know I personally, if ever I was fortunate enough to be included in awards talks for Heisman, Offensive Player of the Year, best running back, best receiver, best quarterback, whatever, I wouldn't want to have an asterisk next to that, and unfortunately, whichever one of these guys wins this season is probably what's going to happen. They're not going to remember that you won the Heisman. They're going to remember that you won it by stat padding. And whenever you have one guy that's doing it, it causes other guys to want to do it as well, to chase that award. If we all just avoid it, you don't have that. You have those realistic numbers. You have those tightly contested Heisman races, because right now, no matter what anybody below these two guys do, they're not catching them. Like, this is your 1 and 2. It's going to be one of these guys that win it. And because of the 1-game suspension to Isaac Brown with Louisville, it's most likely going to be T.J. Mobley at Notre Dame that ends up taking this. So, again, just be mindful. I went on a little bit more of a rant there than I anticipated, but it's an issue. It's been an ongoing issue since I entered the league, and I know that the commissioner is getting frustrated with it. I know that there are several players who are getting frustrated with it. I know that there are some guys who missed out on potential Heisman awards last year because of stat padding, and that's why I mentioned the asterisk, man, is because we had a guy who played, I don't know, man, what was it, maybe 10 computer games. He was in the Big 12, so he didn't have many user games, and the ones he did, he was the highest rated team in the conference, playing against a lot of lower rated teams. And at that point, One Goated was the second highest rated team with BYU, and that was really his only competition. So he's just running over computers and amassing these ridiculous yardage totals with his running back. And even his defense, he was playing both sides of the ball, and he was just bullying some of these smaller schools. And his team sacks through, I think it was like 9 games, was somewhere around like almost 70 sacks. Because he was just running through these guys. And they actually had to make him stop playing defense, stop blitzing, because of things like this, because that is XP farming. That is deliberately abusing the game in order to make your team better. If you want to do that, just go play in an offline franchise, an offline dynasty by yourself. Go do that somewhere else. Um, and I know that kind of sounds dickish, and it is what it is. If you take offense to that, maybe look inward. I don't know. Uh, anyway, ran over for the second time. Um, so we're gonna move on, and like I said, I pre-recorded the call-in portion. Um, so I'm gonna pause for a second so that I can splice everything in here. Um, so enjoy these next 30 minutes. We're gonna have another hour-long show here because I went on some rants. Um, enjoy the next 30 minutes of the call-in portion. All right, and we are in the call-in portion of the show where, surprise, surprise, we already got Signetti Reds and Notre Dame itching, tweaking to get their words in. Um, Bobby, I know that you're already unmuted, but uh, Signetti Reds beat you in here, so we're gonna go ahead and take his call first. Uh, try not to go too crazy with it, man. What you got?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not. Listen, I'm just gonna say, how about them? How about them Hoosiers, huh?
How about him,
Y'all
man?
count? Did you count us out?
A
Did you
little
count us
bit.
out after this?
A little bit,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here in front, man. I surely did.
We came in with a game plan against Washington. I watched a lot of his games, and I kind of got a good feel for his. It's funny because I felt like I did the same thing against Michigan, but what I put together did not work, obviously. But against Washington, we had a good game plan. We executed. And how about them Hoosiers, huh?
How about him, man? I've been very high on the good Eddie for quite some time now. I talk him up as much as I possibly can, and I know that he probably feels like I let him down a little bit. Um, and and I kind of feel bad because ever since I started talking him up highly is kind of whenever he hit that skid, so I feel like it's a little bit of my fault. Like maybe I put a little, a little bit too much pressure on him. Uh,
Well, all respect to him. I'm not going to disparage him. We came in with a. I mean, I had the game plan kind of on lock, so we performed at a very very high level. He had some bad breaks too. He had an interception that he just didn't deserve. Um, and then there was a fumble six that went our way too. There was a lot of bad breaks, so it was just a kind of a when it rains it pours thing. All respect to him, he's going to bounce back. He's going to build a good Washington team, but that was just we had to rebound. We had to rebound in a user game in a big way, and I think we did.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And um, this is still year one. And he's playing with a team that definitely leaves a lot to be desired. I still think he's a really solid user. I still think that he's one of the better users in here. I'm not gonna lump him in with top 10, top 12. But I definitely think that he's not defined just by these couple losses this season. Uh, and I strongly feel like he'll bounce back for sure.
Yeah, like I said, all due respect to him. I've watched Eddie from afar a few times. I don't think I matched up with him in 26 at all, but I remember him being a user that I really wanted to get a matchup with because I felt like he and I matched up well. And I know that we'll see each other down the line. We're both in the Big Ten. We'll both be in the Big Ten for a good while, and I'm excited to see it happen again. And I'm hoping once he builds a squad, I build a squad. We'll see where things end up. But yeah, it was a good one for us. We got Purdue tonight, and that's gonna be that's gonna be the swing. You know, you probably the computer kept me out of the playoffs, um, and I took that personally.
Absolutely, absolutely. You take everything personally. That's not a surprise. Um,
Me? Nah, no, not me.
I'm gonna wrap your call up with this real quick. Don't go anywhere though. Just in case nobody else pops in here, we're gonna get with Bobby, and we can all three talk in here if nobody else pops in after I let him say his piece. But touching on something that you said just now, I played Eddie twice last year, and we had the unfortunate tragic accident that left me sidelined for the last 3 or 4 seasons of 2026. And one game that we played was really really close, and the other game we played was a rain game. And if I remember right, he had to come to Oregon, and he came in still trying to play his game and didn't really adjust to the weather, so it was extremely one-sided. But I remember leaving that first game and immediately telling Brandon and Austin that this guy was going to be really good in this league. Whenever he gets his rhythm established, gets his team established, and I still believe that. I still firmly believe that he's going to be a good user here. Um, he might not be, natty material. There's very few of us in here who actually are. Because there's so much stiff competition at the top. We've got one of them waiting to speak here that I firmly believe is in this league. He's already made national championship with NC State of all teams. So, there's not a lot of guys here that I could say is national championship contenders. But playoff caliber teams or playoff caliber users, I definitely feel like Eddie, the good Eddie, is one of them for sure. Um, so we're gonna move on to Bobby. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, man. I know you've been kind of itching since that Ohio State game to come in and give your words. So, man, I'm all ears for this.
Man, I am fired up. I'm ready for these playoffs to get underway, and I'm ready to embarrass somebody. I'm gonna tell you that. And I hope Ohio State is one of the matchups. That's all I'm waiting for. Because after that loss, I've watched it. I'm ready. I know what he's wanting to do, and it's gonna be a lot different this time.
You feel like you have that game plan figured out a little bit better this time?
100%, 100%. I'm ready to go. Whether it's him, whether I need to put 60 on Michigan's head again, I'm ready to embarrass somebody and send them home.
60 on Michigan again, twice in one season. He is the AP #1 team right now. That's
Yeah, so they say. So they say. That's got me pissed off too. These rankings are bullshit.
well, I think your loss to Ohio State kind of decided that for you. If
That's
if you
fair. That's
if you
fair.
win that game, I firmly believe that you walk away as the undisputed #1 in the AP, probably even in the AT32's power rankings for sure. And I know that you took a little bit issue with with something that I said in the last recap show about Michigan potentially should have been above you after that last week. And I clarified that to you, but I want to clarify that to everybody else that's listening as well. I strictly meant that because of Michigan winning a user versus user game, and that's typically how the AI treats that is user versus user games hold more weight than user versus computer unless you lose to the computer. And speaking of which, Hokie fan just joined, so we're gonna get to him in just a second. Um, don't feel too bad though, Hokie. I actually lost to Vanderbilt last week, so me and you right there together.
I
um,
just wanted to have a moment of silence for the 85 Gators killed in Tallahassee this past weekend.
that's terrible. You're absolutely atrocious. Uh, but getting back to somebody who matters, Bobby. But he left. Uh, Go ahead, man. What else you got to say there, man?
Oh, nah, in all seriousness, no, I'm just excited to get the playoffs underway. I usually don't talk too much junk, so I had to let off a little steam. But I'm just been a great season, so I'm just excited to finish up strong and see if we can't make a push for a national championship.
So I haven't looked at. Let me pull that up. I haven't looked at the recent CFP bracket yet. It Let me see. It currently has you playing. Oh, you have the first round bye. You would play the winner out of Utah and UNLV. If that remains the same, how do you feel about that? Do you even really want to beat Michigan? Well, no. I think that would be Ohio State and Michigan in that championship game, right?
I think they've had Penn State going to the in our championship game for the Big Ten.
Oh man, y'all's
Yeah,
conference is
because Penn
so
State's
loaded.
undefeated. Yeah, they're undefeated. Me and Michigan got one loss, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Penn State and Ohio State. And if that one goes, I'm gonna say Ohio State. Let's say they win, that would put Penn State at one loss. I don't know how it's gonna shake up the bracket, but I feel like my bye. I'm not gonna get the bye. I feel like I'm gonna drop back to like number 5 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, right now the way that the AP has you, I mean, that's top four in the Big Ten. I didn't even notice that Penn State was there. I mean, that dude has been unreal this season. I don't know. Let me look at his team schedule. Uh, oh, he's kind of had a cupcake schedule though. I mean, he's only played Oregon and Washington as far as users go. The rest of his games were all computer games, and it was against teams like Marshall, Temple, Buffalo, Nebraska, Northwestern, Illinois. And then you had Oregon, Iowa, Washington, Michigan State, Maryland. Um, so you kind of have to wonder. You know what? I'm gonna lock it in right now. Signetti, go ahead, and if that game is the Big Ten Conference Championship, which it looks like it will be, give me Ohio State by 21. I mean, we're gonna put that in the sports book right right now, man. That's gonna be a
Yeah.
ugh. I don't like
Wait,
that
you're
for Penn
talking if it's
State.
Ohio State and Penn State?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably going 9.5. I've been a little bit conservative with the sports book
Dude,
numbers just because I haven't figured everybody out in 27 yet. But this season, I'm going to go back and look at the results and the sport. You're going to start seeing some bigger spreads. I've been a little conservative with a few of them.
man, 9.5 I think is very conservative with that game. And listen, we haven't seen much out of Penn State, like I just read off. But the two wins that he does have against users have been massive. There, you have 56-21 at Oregon, which is a terrible place to play. It's such a difficult environment, and 41-0 at Washington. Um, but man, I don't know. Ohio State's just he's one of those guys, man. He's just on a different level. There's three, four, five, maybe six guys that I put in that same conversation with him. Um, and even then, man, he's just kind of a little bit above some of those guys. It's tough to bet against him, especially now that he has Ohio State. Last year with Georgia, he was ridiculous there. And then I wasn't here for 25, but I think somebody said that he was like Western Kentucky or something like that, and he won the national championship with them, which blows my mind. I mean, I know he's good, but dude, that's ridiculous. Bobby, you have anything to wrap up with before we get to SMU?
Yeah, just adding to what you said, give Ohio State some props, man. He's a really solid user, and he's very smart with the ball. You won't see him make many turnovers. He usually sticks to his game plan pretty well. So yeah, he's gonna be a tough out in all seriousness. But I really do want that matchup. I need to get revenge, and I'd rather play. I like playing people multiple times instead of a new face. So I feel like I have a better feel for him the second time around. So I feel like I like my odds in the second matchup if that happens.
So the CFP picture is definitely going to change after the conference championship. You know, you alluded to that a little bit, possibly losing that first round bye. Um, you know, depending on how things go. I don't know that that happens, to be completely honest with you. The only way that I think that might happen is if LSU beats uh, Texas or Tennessee, whoever they would play. Um, that's the only way that I would see that maybe you might lose it. Louisville winning the ACC championship, maybe, but I don't see jumping from 7 to 4 happening and you falling from 4, you know, out of that top 4 just because of something like that. Um, Utah, that's one that could potentially take that spot if they win the Big 12, but again, I don't see that really happening either. I
No,
mean, not
he's got Reese, right? He's got to play Reese.
yeah, yeah, and not saying I don't
Yeah.
see him beating Reese. I just don't see a win. I mean, it would have to be an extremely convincing win, like a massive blowout, and we just don't see that out of people that play Reese. You know, I don't see him jumping into that top 4 just based on, you know, a 5-9 matchup in the conference championship. You know, uh,
Yeah.
so looking at that picture, if everything were to stay the same right now, your side of the bracket has the winner of UNLV and Utah playing you, and then the winner of Texas Tech and Texas playing Ohio State. Um, that seems like a pretty favorable matchup for you. You know, all the way to the semifinals. Is there anybody else that, you know, off the top of your head that you would like to be able to play in that second round that you feel would be an easier out than some of the other guys?
Um. Uh, Nobody really off the top. I mean, I think once we get into the semifinals, everybody's pretty solid for the most part, unless we just see an upset. So that would, if I won that first round, that would pin me against what it would be the winner of Ohio State playing whoever wins out of the Texas and
And
um
Texas Tech,
was
yeah,
ooh, that's gonna be that'd be a good game right there.
dude, that would be unreal.
Yeah, and then I'm who knows? I could if I win my round, I might not even see Ohio State. I mean, those two guys are how good they are, so that's gonna be a heck of a game if that happens. So yeah, I would say out of those three though, I would actually I'd like to play Ohio State again. I'd like to play Ohio State. At least I have some familiarity. Haven't played the other two this year, and I think they're all three good users. So I'll go with I'll take the familiarity, and I'll go. I hope Ohio State's the matchup.
That that could be a huge semi, for sure. Signetti, man, if you want to jump in on this, you know, it's just us three in here, so you know, if you want to jump in and give some insight into this, you know, who would you like to play? You know, round one right now has you play in LSU if everything kind of stays the same. Uh, how would you feel about that matchup?
What's crazy is I have not faced Brandon once. I was supposed to face him one time, I think, when I was at FSU, and the timing didn't work out somehow. I had something come up. I can't remember if that was when I had my baby or what happened, but I was not able. I was when I had my baby. I was at Notre Dame because I've been wanting to play Brandon since I started in this league, just because I'm an LSU fan. So listen, that's like the one game that if I got that and I got belt in it, I wouldn't be mad about it because I'm a huge LSU fan. I'm a big fan of the way Brandon plays. You know, it's funny because he favors a lot of RPO stuff. I favor a ton of RPO stuff. So you're going to see a lot of them like quick hitter, ball control type games. I think that matchup actually might be really, really good. The way that our offensive styles line up, I think that would be probably my best like puzzle piece matchup in the first round if that's what I ended up with.
So I've played Brandon quite a few times in this league and in another, and it's always such a fun chess match because you know I play that very similar style offense. Also, I feel like I stretch the field vertically a little bit more than he does, um, and that also makes me a little more reckless than he is. He takes care of the ball so much. You know, I was watching the Tennessee game with him the other night that he absolutely put belt to Tennessee, and he threw a couple picks in that game. And while I'm watching, I'm like, Brandon, what are you doing? Like, this is not you. You do not throw interceptions. You don't make mistakes. And after the game, he won. I think the final score was like 48-24. Um, and we were kind of texting back and forth, and I told him, I was like, dude, great win, but what the fuck was that? Like, that is not your style of football, man. And he was like, man, one of them, I thought I had it, but the DB was there, and he made a great read, and then the other one, he had an RPO with the receiver. I think it was a receiver on an out, and he said normally when the corner plays off ball, they just kind of sit and that pass is there. But he couldn't see that side of the screen. Like it wasn't it's one of those plays that it didn't show the outside receiver. So he was just going blind, expecting it to be there, and it wasn't. Yeah, I'm like, dude, you do not make those mistakes. But it's always fun playing him, man. One of my first seasons here, whenever I had Louisiana, I almost beat him, and that's the closest that I've gotten to beating him so far. And every single time that I play him, it's a chess match like that. Whether it's a close game or it's an absolute blowout, it's always fun, man.
It's funny you talk about the when you start getting aggressive, like your propensity to go downfield, because if you go back and watch my games, it's on tape if you watch it. Like I typically am not taking big downfield shots unless I feel like it's presented to me. Especially like having Charlie Becker on the outside. Like if you press him, he's it's almost impossible to stop him unless you're Michigan. And he, that kind of allows me to get a little aggressive when I need to. But if you notice, like the games that I've lost, where I've fallen short is if I start playing heavy downfield passing. And I had that problem in 26 too, where it's like I favor the quick reads, the pre-snap. I try to motion and set people off. I try to win that chess match before the snap. If I'm forced to play downfield, that's where I struggle the hardest. And so, any win that I've had, I usually have at maximum like one turnover. And so I know that if I play Brandon, I know it's going to be the same thing with him. I'm going to have to I just got to take care of the ball, and I got to take what's given to me and not try to get reckless, especially against that LSU defense. That defense is ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm much the same way. I told Sticks and Hook the other day, after Sticks put belt to me. It's no secret to pretty much anybody that plays me that I want to run the ball. That's my identity. That's where I'm comfortable. If you take that run away and you force me to throw downfield, that's kind of where I start to make mistakes. I try to force things here and there that I really can't make, and I know that I can't. And as soon as the ball leaves my hand, I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have thrown that. It's I don't know, man. It's like I can't get out of my own way whenever things aren't really going right, and I try to force too much. And instead of just taking what the defense is giving me, I'm trying to take it all at one shot. That's my personal downfall. For anybody that's listening to that, don't ever play me and use that against me.
Well, it's not a bad thing. The thing is, when you say it out loud, I feel like you set yourself up, to actually be a little bit more critical of your own game. Like, I'm on my way home now, and I'm going to boot up against Purdue, and I think the first thing I'm going to do is be like, all right, I'm going to run the ball 80% of the time in this game, because I know that that's what's going to work.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the crazy thing is, I've got Josh Hoover at quarterback. He's out of control good. Josh Hoover is almost a cheat code for a drop back passer. But if you aren't making the right reads, and if you're trying to play, that's the other thing too. This game does not favor the post snap, figure it out, play the broken play thing. You can set up your guys to to get aggressive and start to help the quarterback if he scrambles, and maybe make something out of nothing. But this game is not forgiving against those situations. You have to have your stuff dialed well before that snap happens, because you are not going to be able to figure it out on the fly. And having a guy like Josh Hoover who doesn't move very well but throws the ball very well, you got to know where you're putting it before the snap happens, because you're in trouble if you don't.
Absolutely, man. And computers this year disguise their coverages so well. There's a lot of times that I'm lined up, and look, I'm a footballer before I am a video gamer. I absolutely love the sport. I take pride in being able to dissect defenses at pre-snap, and sometimes, man, I'm sitting at the line of scrimmage and I'm looking at what the defense is showing me, and I'm like, what the hell is this? It looks like foreign to me, man. And there's so many different playbooks. There's so many different formations now. Um, it's a lot more difficult to read and react. And man, the pass rush is so fast, and I don't know if that's just my O line or if that's around the board. Everybody's kind of experiencing the same thing. But man, I feel like I'm under pressure within a second. For majority of the game, I played Vandy the other night, and it was terrible timing by me. I knew that I had to go outside and work on my pool, and my daughter was trying to play, and I was trying to play with her, and play the game at the same time. And I'm having conversation. I'm trying to do like 5 different things at once, knowing that I can't do that this year against the computer. Last year you could jump in a game, you play the computer, you pretty much fly on autopilot and beat them by 60. This year you actually have to kind of lock in a little bit. Um, I know that guys like Bobby don't really have that problem. They just come in there and run it down your throat, and it's not an issue. But my piss poor little ragtag team of Gators, they kind of struggled, man. And Vandy had me with a 3 and out, with three and outs right away. I had 6 carries for 7 yards. I mean, dude, talk about flustered. I wanted to break everything in my house, man. It was rough.
Bro, you're
Well,
replaying me against Missouri State, dude.
Dude.
hey, I'll add to the. You guys were talking about reading the defenses, and Kirk Cousins actually has a really good video about progression reads versus coverage reads. And I've kind of just pretty much went to straight progression reads, because when they disguised it, like usually if you read the coverage, you can kind of like say it's cover two, you have your cover two beater, you kind of cut the field in half, and you already know you're going to this side. But the problem is when the defense is disguised so well, then it's hard you have to read the defense post snap. So where if you just have progression reads, it's like, okay, this is my number one receiver, this is the second route, and then maybe my third route's a check down. I think that makes it a lot easier when people are disguising the defenses really well, instead of having to try to read the coverage.
Funny
Yeah.
you bring that up, because I'm actually like teaching my 6-year-old now. He's all in. He's ready to be a quarterback. Kid wants to be Joe Burrow. All he is. So like we've actually been kind of dissecting the game and stuff like that. And I've had him start to draw up plays and say, all right, so in this situation, you like if you were to read this, you're going to read this guy first. Like he's starting to get that on like 1 to 2 reads, and it's helping me do that just by teaching my 6-year-old. But that progression read stuff is like that is absolutely so paramount nowadays. You got to sit there and play that game like a quarterback. You can't sit there and play that game like you're just trying to win on the sticks. Like you got to be thinking like you're actually in the pocket, like the bullets are live. It's nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, like I'll still kind of try to look at the defense and get an idea, but I mean, and look at spacing and stuff like that. But overall, that's why I will say a couple times I might miss a deep shot or miss somebody, just because my certain plays I kind of have it to where I have certain reads and progression, so I might not even look at that go route just because that's like my third or fourth read. So if the first or second one comes open, I might miss that every once in a while or something like that. But overall, I just think for me, it's easier than trying to worry about reading the defense. Like, oh, the corners are 5 yards off, so you got split safety, must be in this or whatever. I just pretty much, okay, this is my play. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, nobody's open, check down or run. For me, that's easier. But
Yeah, yeah, I remember. I remember watching a video back whenever the Panthers were in their prime of their lives, pretty much. Man, I don't remember what year that was. 13 maybe. When they
15.
played, was it 15 when they played Denver in the Super Bowl?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
That's 15.
so I remember watching a video of Cam talking about how he reads his progressions, and basically he goes to the line and he just looks at half the field. He's not reading
Yep.
the whole field, and he said it simplified his offense so much because he's not having to worry about going through, 3 or 4, 5 reads. He can just take 1 or 2 in a check down, and it sped everything up for him. It made him a lot more efficient, and he played extremely well that season. I really, really dislike Cam Newton. I've never been a fan of him, mostly because he was with Carolina. I pulled for him whenever he was with Auburn. I liked him. Um, I think it was him and Oregon, was it in the national championship?
I think so. Yeah.
And I pulled for Auburn, whenever he was there, but I didn't like him as a pro. but I thought, man, that makes so much sense. If you can get in the habit of just reading half the field, it speeds you up a little bit. It sets that clock ticking. So if you're constantly under pressure, you're not having to read the whole field. You just 1, 2 reads. Here's your check down. Or take off with it. And I know that scrambling out of the pocket or stepping up in the pocket this year is a lot more difficult than it has been in years past. But man, I think that could definitely help a lot of people if they just simplified their reads that way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because if you have a certain, like obviously cover two beat or cover three or however you do your reads, you're not even worried about maybe the left side of the field or the right side. Because if you're trying to really read all 5 guys, there's no possible way you can't get. Maybe if you have the '90s Dallas Cowboys line or something, but you're not going to be able to get to all 5 reads. So you have to have like your first 1 or 2, and then your check down, and then you need to just take off.
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, we're pushing 30 minutes here, and I still have a whole show to do. I actually this is gonna be pre-recorded, and I'm just gonna plug it in because I haven't started on the show yet. But y'all have anything else that y'all would like to add, or a message for the league, message for um, potential playoff opponents, conference championship guys, anything?
I got a message for Hooked.
Okay, let's
Put-
let's hear
it. Put Georgia week 0 on my schedule.
Oh, we got a call out. I love it. I absolutely love it. Bone, let's make that happen, man. Indiana, Georgia. Make Eddie go to Indiana, too. That would be...
You're damn right. You're
Chef's
damn
kiss.
right. Bring
that
him
would
yeah,
be
bring him
chef's
there.
kiss. Oh,
yes.
I would absolutely
bring him to
love it.
Memorial Stadium. It's going to be loud. He's not going to have Nate Frazier. Let's make him think about playing football for a little bit.
And give me Virginia Tech. I want cupcakes.
Oh, boy.
Bobby, you got anything to add, man?
Nah, man. That's it for the night. It was good talking to y'all, boys.
All right, man. I appreciate
again,
you guys
man.
stopping by.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
Y'all too. All right, and we are back at it. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. It was a really fun time for me. Uh, I'm sure that Bobby enjoyed it. I'm sure that B Goins enjoyed it. Um, that was a great time. And man, I would love to have some more variety in some of these things. If you guys want to pop in, I know one Goated wanted to step in. I'm guessing it may have been a little bit too late for him. So I'm gonna have to get him on an interview, isolated by himself sometime soon. I think maybe he wanted to address the Texas Tech game that he got blown out whenever Macemaker went down. Um, so we're gonna try to kind of speed run through the rest of this so that you guys aren't listening to me talk for the next 20 or 30 minutes. Commits. We have very similar numbers to the ones that we had in week 11. I don't think anything really jumps off of the board to me except for North Carolina still at 0, Tennessee still at 1. Yeah, I don't think there's been much change to this. For those of you guys who are listening on the podcast, I'm gonna really quickly run through the order, the total number of commits, and the NIL spent, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. At number 1, we have Georgia. 20 commits, 1,800 NIL. Number 2, we have Michigan with 21, with 2785. That's a big number, guys. That is a big number, considering that your number 1 is sitting at 1,800. Indiana at 3 with 25 commits, 3,150. LSU at 4 with 16 and 1,570 spent. USC 19 commits, another really big number with 2,950 spent. Texas at 6 with 15 and 1,890. Oklahoma at 7 with 17 and 2,780. Notre Dame at 8 with 14 and 1,575. I just want to point out that Oklahoma is not the biggest spender anymore. I know they lost some commits after his recent skid. Penn State at 9 with 13 and 25-25. Listen, that is a massive average. And my laptop's dying. This thing's battery is horrible. Man, that Penn State is averaging 194 NIL per commit. That is huge. Clemson with 13 and 2,000. I don't understand how Josh is committing, getting recruits. I know that it's a lot less difficult to build your team than it is to actually play the games whenever you're on bad Wi-Fi. And I know that at some point here in the near future, he is supposed to be moving and hopefully getting his internet situation resolved. But I had high hopes for him in season 1, and I don't even know that he's played a computer game. But at least the recruiting is getting done. Washington at 11 with 16 commits, only 1290 spent. 6 4s and 10 3s. That's a pretty low number with NIL and 16 commits. Colorado, 24 commits, has the second highest total commits so far with a 1935 spent, and 20 of those being 3 stars. Ohio State's still sitting with a low number, 11 commits, 920 NIL. Texas A&M is booted, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that or not. He is gone. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know that he was supposed to be, and let me double check that. Yeah, he's out of there. So I have to take him off of these graphics. Bone, if you make it this far, please let me know who is filling that 30-second spot now that he's gone. So A&M is completely irrelevant in this conversation. Oregon with 10 and 1050. 9 4 stars, 1 5 star. That's pretty good there. Cal with 15 at 1075. I'm sitting at 23 with 11 total commits, 960 spent. Miami, 8 commits with 1425, 3 5 stars, by the way. That y'all might look at that and be like, well, he spent 1425 and he's only got 8 commits. What's going on there? He has 3 5 stars and 5 fours. So pretty good numbers there. And if I know anything about Austin, I've said it in the past. Those commits aren't just depth pieces. They're guys that are going to come in and they're going to make impacts in Miami, um, more sooner than later for sure. And you can expect them to be extremely fast. Virginia Tech with 11 at 955. Utah with 8 and only 410. Guys, this man has 8 commits, 410 spent. 7 of those 8 are 4 stars. If that is not efficient recruiting, I don't know what is. I don't know what his recruits look like, but holy crap, that's massive. He's paying them bare minimum. He's given some of them nothing. Cade at Ole Miss with 8 and 815. Reese at Texas 8. Texas Tech, I'm sorry, 8 with 790. Sticks at Florida State with 7 and 875. Houston with 9 and 540. Bama with 6 and 570. OK State with 7 and 815. UCF 7 and 380. UNLV with 11 and 125. Keep in mind that he just inherited this team, so that may not actually be his commits. Louisville with 6 and 410. All 6 being 4 stars. So he is another team that is completely underpaying recruits, and could be a great thing, could not. I don't know what his commits look like. SMU with only 4 commits and 350. Tennessee with only 1 commit and 100 spent, and then North Carolina with 0 and 0. Guys, if you're at the bottom and you're not waiting for the portal, you need to get on the ball. You need to start recruiting, because it is going to be miserable for you in the future if this is what your recruiting classes look like. You cannot miss a full recruiting cycle and be competitive in the future. You're not going to be able to do it. Moving along to power rankings. The only movement to note is Indiana and Washington. Indiana going up 7 spots. The rest of the rankings look fairly similar. LSU actually jumps Notre Dame after his massive win against Tennessee. So top 4 we have Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, LSU, and then Notre Dame, Penn State, Florida State, Texas Tech, Miami, Utah to round out the top 10. Louisville sitting at 11, Tennessee at 12, only dropping 3 spots after that massive loss. Ole Miss and UCF at 13 and 14, Indiana and Oregon at 15, 16. And then you have the poverty people over here with Georgia at 17, SMU 18, USC 19, myself at 20, Bama 21, Clemson 22, OK State 23, Houston 24, Washington 25, Cal 26, Oklahoma 27, Texas A&M is irrelevant, but that was 28, Colorado 29, UNLV 30, Virginia Tech 31, and North Carolina 32. So the only award that we're going to look at tonight, because I touched on it earlier, that we're going to do a full show. 1 second. I gotta go tend to my daughter. Give me a minute. All right. I am back. I just cut the stream, and I'm gonna hurry up and wrap this up. So yeah, the only award that we're gonna touch on tonight is the Heisman race, and we're just gonna stick to the in-game race. We kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier when we were talking about the suspensions, um, and we're gonna get that more in-depth look at the other awards for you guys some point tomorrow. Hopefully a little bit earlier in the day so that we can get this out to you guys before advance. Um, so that I can cover week 13 before the conference championships are played, because I know that some of these guys are going to want to knock those out pretty quickly, and I want to get that done uh, as soon as possible. So Heisman race, we're looking at T.J. Mobley at 1, Isaac Brown at 2, Nate Frazier at 3, Malachi Tony at 4. And, I said earlier that I think that this is pretty much a two-man race. It's going to be hard to top T.J. Mobley and Isaac Brown, even with Isaac Brown missing a game. Especially knowing that some of these guys will be in the playoffs and some of them won't. So just more chances for stats to build there. Conference championship outlook. Pretty much everything is set in stone here. Even AI can't really figure out what's going to happen with the SEC championship. It's predicting LSU versus Tennessee or LSU versus Texas. Week 11, it had Tennessee kind of being the mainstay, and either Texas or LSU playing Tennessee. But after that LSU-Tennessee game, it has LSU being the team that's kind of there regardless. And if we are to believe that, then I think we are looking at LSU and Tennessee because of the head-to-head with Texas and Tennessee. I don't really know exactly how those tiebreakers go in this game. But it's going to be interesting to figure out who they put in that game. Right now, the current conference standings has Texas, Tennessee, then LSU, with Texas being 7-1 in conference, Tennessee and LSU being 8-1. So I feel like you've kind of got to go LSU, Tennessee. I know that Brandon wants Texas. He wants that rematch. He felt like that was one of them that got away from him. But I don't know, man. After the game that he played against Tennessee, I personally would want Tennessee. I want that win. I want that elusive SEC championship win for myself personally. And then you have ACC, Louisville versus Miami is looking like that's definitely going to be the game in the ACC. Louisville being 9-0, Miami being 8-1. The next closest being Cal at 7-2, Florida State at 6-2. So you're most likely definitely looking at that game. Louisville has played very well this year. We've talked at length about it. After dropping that first game against Michigan, he's gone on to beat Ole Miss, SMU, Florida State, and North Carolina. So it's gonna be tough for Austin with Miami, but don't sleep on Austin either, though. I mean, the dude's really, really good, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my pick, I'm gonna go with who I know, and I'm gonna go with Austin there. But I'm curious to see how Louisville would handle um, that type of pressure, that type of team in Miami, and see if he'll be able to slow down that high-powered offense that Austin loves to run. Big 12, we have Utah versus Texas Tech. And I know that Utah has played really well this year. This is very similar situation to ACC. Utah has beat Cal, Colorado, and Houston, and none of those games were really close. The game against Cal is 40-28, Colorado's 49-27, Houston 45-7. He's undefeated, ranked fifth nationally right now. Uh, Potential with the win here to have a first round bye. But y'all know my saying. Last year it was don't buck UNC. This year is don't buck TTU. I will gamble with Texas Tech every chance that I get. Give me Reese. Give me Reese. Give me Reese. I don't buck it. I just won't. I don't. Um, Big Ten, we have a little bit of a head scratcher there as well. The graphics showing Ohio State versus Penn State. Uh, you heard Bobby and I talking about that a little bit earlier. I don't know why this graphic has a chaos alternate with Ohio State and Michigan, because Michigan is 7-1 in conference. Oddly enough, right now, top four teams in the playoffs all come out of the Big Ten. You have Ohio State at 1, Michigan at 2, Penn State at 3, Notre Dame at 4, and Ohio State and Penn State are 8-0 in conference. And then you have Notre Dame, Michigan, and Indiana at 7-1. So, it's looking like it's definitely going to be Ohio State, Penn State, and in that game, uh, there's not a pick that I am as confident in as I am as taking Ohio State. I mean, give me Ohio State by 3 touchdowns. I know Penn State's good. He's had a great season, but like we mentioned earlier, only played 2 users really with Oregon and Washington. Whereas Mr. Play to Win the Game is very known, very good, very disciplined, has played some of the top users in this league with Georgia, Texas, Washington, Notre Dame, USC. I mean, this man has kind of been through a gauntlet. And dude, the closest game he had was a 32-30 win. Oh no, that was simmed. Never mind. That was a sim game against Texas. That one, we did not get to watch that one. That sucks. But he beat Eddie by 10. Beat Washington by 43. Beat Notre Dame by 2 scores on that last second pick 6 to seal the game. Beat USC by 28. I mean, this is another guy that you don't really bet against him. You know, Mr. Play to Win the Game anywhere is going to be good. Ohio State, it's almost unbeatable. You know, at this point, he's kind of my favorite to win the national championship, and you know, it sucks to say that because I would love to see Brandon in there, but if him and Brandon meet, and that's going to be such a tough matchup. I know that they've played a lot last year whenever Mr. Play to Win the Game was at Georgia, but that Georgia team and this Ohio State team, they're just completely different animals. We do not have the bowl outlook this time around, but we do have the playoffs. And this is kind of what I was touching on earlier with 1, 2, 3, and 4 all in the Big Ten, getting that first round bye. But kind of breaking it down, you have if everything remained the same, playoff started tomorrow, you'd have UNLV playing Utah. Winner there going to Notre Dame. Um, you have Texas Tech playing Texas. Great in-state rivalry game there. Really, really fun game to imagine watching. I kind of hope we get that one. I really do. Um, Winner there playing Ohio State. Indiana, LSU, another one that's a really fun game. B. Goins, massive LSU fan. Uh, Winner there plays Penn State. Miami, Louisville, rematch of the ACC championship game. If that sticks, but if Austin loses the ACC championship game, I kind of feel like he's knocked out, sitting there at 10. Um, but winner there would go to Michigan. And listen, I think that there is definitely some room for upsets here. If I'm picking, I'm saying Utah plays Notre Dame. Notre Dame advances. Um, I'm, I know. My words, right? My words. Don't buck Reese. Never buck Reese. In this instance, sorry, Reese. I played Arch. I know what it's like. Good luck. Dude is he's video game like. I mean, it's unreal. You should see, really, if you're on your game, if you're anywhere around your game right now, stop and go look up Arch's stats for the season. He has like 600 and something rushing yards. It is mind blowing. So I would pick Texas there, and then Texas, Ohio State. I've got to go Ohio State. Um, like I said, man, that to me is the team to beat. And then you got the rematch on that side of the bracket with Notre Dame, Ohio State, and that one's close to call. I know that Bobby learns from his mistakes. He does really well at adjusting. And I said at the beginning of the season that Bobby at Notre Dame could potentially be a national championship national championship team in season one, and I still kind of believe that. I think Bobby might take that one. Indiana, LSU, got to ride LSU, and then I feel like LSU also beats Penn State to go to the semis. Austin, Louisville, Miami, Louisville. I think Austin takes that, and then sadly enough, I think Michigan wins that one. Love Austin, love him as a guy, as a player. Michigan is doing something special there. They have a great team. They have a very, very different offensive scheme that just seems very hard to stop. He's a extremely good user. I think we see LSU Michigan semifinal, and then I've got to ride with Brandon. I've got to, man. Logically, I don't know, but my heart says LSU. So that's what my mouth is gonna say. I'm gonna ride with Brandon there, and national championship. Brandon and Bobby, LSU, Notre Dame. You know where I'm going. I mean, come on now. Love you, Bobby, but purple and gold, man. I've got to ride with him. That's gonna wrap it up, guys. I know this was a bit winded, quite a bit long. There were a few stops in there, couple rants. If I pissed you off, sorry for you, I guess. If like I said earlier, man, if anything that I said about stat padding rubs you the wrong way, maybe you should look at that. For yourself, because I think a big majority of guys in this league is gonna hear that and they're gonna agree. And if you disagree, then I don't know. I don't really know what to tell you there, other than you're one of the things that potentially needs to change here. Um, so yeah. Anyway, wrapping up, man. Thank you as always for tuning in to this show. I think this might be the most controversial show that we've had yet, and I can't wait to hear the reactions and see your guys' comments. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. And yeah, tune in next time whenever Bone and I do the awards watch show. That's something that I'm extremely excited for. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy that, and I'm looking forward to being able to break that down and exploring that with you guys. And it's something that I think could be really really cool. You know, possibly even the way that we done the reveal show. You know, with how big that was, how amazing that was. I think that this could be even better than that. So, looking forward to it, man. As always, this is around the 32. 32 teams, 32 coaches, one dynasty, college football our way. Thank you so much for spending the last hour and whatever with me. I know I said I wasn't going to make it long, but sometimes it just kind of gets out of hand that way. So, have a good evening, have a good day, whenever it is that you're listening to this, and tune in next time.